Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Tangela, the founder of SoulSearch and SoulSearch TV, and I'm so excited to be here today for another week of Transcendence Talks with Suzanne Ross and Ann Tucker. And
and we lost her.
That's what?
She transformed into her light body.
She ascended, Anne. Oh my gosh. Oh no. Well, anyways, until Tangela comes back, thanks for joining us. And I'm so happy you're going to be at our San Diego Transcendence retreat. You joined us for our last two retreats in Savannah, and we're so happy that you're going to be in San Diego with us. And so it looks like Tangela has popped back into this dimension.
Sorry about that. I don't know what happened. I think your angels had me flying all over the place and out into the ethers, but now I'm back. So
welcome back.
Thank you so much. And so, as I was saying right before I popped off, Suzanne is the amazing organizer of the San Diego Transcendence Retreat, which will be happening September 27th and 28th in San Diego at the Bahia Resort in the Mission Bay. And Ann Tucker is one of our incredible speakers who will be there. And Ann, she's an incredible trance channel for the healing and wisdom of the Angel Collective, Mother of Creation, and Yeshua. So I'm really excited that you're going to be there, Ann, and just tell us a little bit about, what you're bringing through right now with the Angel Collective.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Thank you so much for asking. I'm so excited to go. And San Diego has a very soft spot in my heart because it's where I grew up. So I don't live there anymore. I live in the Northwest, but all my childhood was in San Diego. And the Bahia, by the way, as a hotel is like a historic, like it was as a kid, that was like the fancy, cool hotel. So it's really fun to go back now and be part of this conference back in San Diego, my hometown. But yeah, so I'm super excited. The timing of this conference couldn't be better. I've been working with the angels for a long time, and the Mother of Creation has come to me more recently within the last year. She's been coming through more and more, and so I'm super excited to channel her. And she's an incredible healer. That what she does is when I channel her, my heart becomes a portal. And it was really amazing because I brought her through briefly at the last event that Suzanne did. And I didn't tell people that that's what happens. My heart becomes a portal. People move through my heart to her. And then she has the ability. It's almost like because she was the one who sort of sung us into presence. She sort of sung our initial soul song and birthed our soul into consciousness. And so she knows everyone's soul song. So through the process of moving through that portal, she has the ability to restore people in beautiful ways. However, of course, we always heal ourselves. So it's what are we available to receive? What will we allow in? But it's the transformation and potential is amazing. And when I brought her through briefly, when I was at the last event, several people came up to me afterwards and told me that they saw my heart open and become a portal. And it was so cool because her events always attract such a high vibe. And there's always loads of gifted people just walking around, And but it was really, really cool that I didn't even tell them and they knew that's what was going on. Really cool.
That is really incredibly beautiful. And the Mother of Creation sings souls into being and knows everyone's soul song. That makes me want to cry.
Yeah, it is channeling her. I mean, it took me a long time to get ready. I was really, honestly, I was afraid in the beginning because the energy was just so big. And I had all these dreams showing me, trying to get me used to her and trying to her coming in. And I was in my dreams. I'm always really afraid, and it's just because it's I think that's always it, is what Marianne Williamson's beautiful quote is, that we're always afraid of what we can do. We always limit ourselves, and to be able to open up to hold her energy, to be a channel for her energy was really, really intimidating in the beginning, really scary. And I had dreams that I was about to try to shift into this stream above. And I thought if I went up there that I would my brain would pop or something. I mean, it was just we doubt ourselves. but they knew I should have trusted my angels, that they wouldn't have brought her before I was ready. There was a lot of work that went into trying to get ready to work with her. And but her energy is so, what I love about it is that it's a lot like, a great metaphor for her is water. Is that water is never demanding, it's never insistent, but it always, any crack, any crevice, water will go through it, and it's always changing, it's always moving, it's flowing. That in terms of how she works with a person, it's this ever-present, loving essence, but it's never forceful, right? It's always, it's like water. If you're trying to, and you can't hold it, you can't contain it, but if you go into it, if you dive into it, it's all around you. It's totally all encompassing. So it is a really, really amazing energy to work with, and to be able to bring her through the healings that she does, to be able to bring her through this event. It's incredibly powerful to do those healings. I'm super excited to be able to do it with this group.
Really beautiful, Anne. And so why do you think the mother of creation is coming through at this time, at this stage of our evolution?
I mean, this is like, right now we are going into this great shift in consciousness, which really is about trying to bring us back into balance. That for this whole last, if you want to say 2000 years or before that, really, we have been in this process of moving further and further and further out of balance in the overexpression of our divine masculine, which is necessary. Like, it's the masculine energy stands underneath and lifts. It's like the support, the feminine sits on top of it. So we had to build all the structure, all of the science and all the stuff. We needed all of that. But in the process of it, like anything, we overexpressed into the masculine, and the feminine, it became like 80%, 20%. Now, as we move through this shift in consciousness, the feminine is coming back and bringing us back into balance. And so that is why she's come right now, is to help us to embrace. And this is going to be so powerful for us. We're so used to trying to create from the masculine, which is about control, control, control. It's about, plan, measure twice and cut once, and plan, plan, plan. When in reality, like, it's really funny because people will say out of one side of their mouth, they'll say, well, we need our KPIs and we need to plan and we need, and out of the other side of the mouth, they say, well, no plan ever survives contact with reality. Like, there's this innate understanding. We know doing things solely through our masculine doesn't work. And so once we embrace the feminine and we understand how we're meant to create through the infinite potential of the feminine, it's like all the locks come off the doors. So yeah, I can't tell you how excited I am to be working with her and to be bringing her through right now.
I like how you compared her to water. It reminds me like an infinite sea of love.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And it's, I think in terms of our soul growth, there's that the place that we are in a lot of times is in the place between separation and unity. And we may feel in our conscious mind that we want unity, that's where we conceptually, we like the idea of unity, but then we start to think about, well, unity means no privacy. Unity means people can see all my junk. If you have true unity, nothing's hidden, like nothing's hidden. And so when we get to that, when we get to that space, do we pull back? And I think it's an interesting question for people to feel into their own field. Really think about, what does unity mean and what comes up for you? Because to me, it is, and you can see it in a lot of the discussions about where technology is going. People are really worried about their privacy and worried about what it is to have everything shared, everything open. The goal, to me, it's all one conversation. The conversation is first self-love, right? When we have accomplished, like when we have fully accepted ourselves, when we have accepted ourselves to every depth, we no longer worry about privacy, And so this is the kind of the back and forth that we have to go through, is that we're trying to bring ourselves into balance. We're trying to get to unity consciousness, right? But the challenge is, number one, and as always at the beginning and the end, is self-love. Is that integration of all aspects of who we are, so that we're willing to embrace it.
I love that about unity. We were talking to Daryl Lenka yesterday, who's teaching a workshop at our San Diego Transcendence retreat. And we were talking about telepathy, because we also have a couple gals who are demonstrating telepathy at our event. autistic savant named Ludu Burgoyne will be demonstrating how her and many other autistic children are totally telepathic.
I love that. That's going to be amazing.
Right. But in
Yeah.
this telepathy, which Daryl Anka says Bashar calls telepathy,
Yes.
we're not really able to move into telepathy until we have unconditional love, compassion, kindness, forgiveness, because like you said, then all of our thoughts are revealed. And so we have to be at that higher level, right? Of
an interesting experience I had was very early on my awakening journey. One of the I had it was a couple things that happened, and then all of a sudden I started having these crazy psychic experiences, and I now understand that from the telepathy tapes, when some of the children described what was happening to them, what they defined as telepathy, that's what was happening to me, but I didn't understand it. I had several experiences where I spontaneously popped into someone else's body, and I could see through their eyes, and I could see, and I can, it's like, and now I did learn to control it. I ended up using it as a healing modality where I would feel inside another person's body. I just thought this was my healing modality. I just thought this is like how my gifting works. And this is, now I hear it on this telepathy tapes, and the kid is going, yeah. And then I could see through mom's eyes, and I'm like, oh my God, like I've never heard anybody else talking about that. And they called it, and then that's like, I was amazed. So I'm so excited to hear their speaking. That would be amazing, or to see their demonstration. Super cool.
Oh, yes. I'm excited.
I love that, because it's like, this is where we're all headed, and what's possible for all of us as we move into unity consciousness, as we move into the fifth dimension. But like you said, Anne, it starts with the self-love. It starts with really loving ourselves and being truly compassionate with who we are, so that we can open ourselves up in that way, right?
I so agree.
We're going from this state of feeling like we have to be separated in order to protect ourselves. And then moving into that vulnerability.
Yeah. And it's so interesting. I think we get really confused sometimes around the whole concept of self-love, because all the ads in the world will tell you that you need to buy another thing of bubble bath in order to have self-love. You know what I mean? Like, it becomes a sales pitch. Like, I love myself, and therefore I'm going to buy these, you know what I mean? But it's from a spiritual perspective. I think it really helps to think of it as all of the things that we've ever said, done, experienced, all the things that were ever said, done, or done to us, the things that we would rather not feel, the things we wish didn't happen, the memories that when we reflect on, we push them down. That's what needs to be embraced. That's what self-love is, right? It is saying all the pieces of me, all the experiences of myself are all valid, and I am worth loving through all of that. Like, I love myself with those experiences and letting them come up and be integrated. And but the other thing I was going to say, which is something that the Mother of Creation shared with me, was this push and pull experience we have of trying to go into unity consciousness. And it is one of the things, like, it's a delicate balance, because the push and pull of unity and separation is what makes us creative, right? It's the positive and the negative pole of the battery that creates change and dynamism and allows things to shift around us. But the ideal thing is for us to be perfectly in the center, balanced, and able to use all of that. But we have on one pole, we have self-love, and are we willing to show all of ourselves? And then we have on the other side, the feeling of, are other people infringing on our space? So that's another interesting thing for people to explore in terms of getting used to the idea of unity is do you feel like you have a perfect space bubble of separation around you? And you can be almost like the swallows, where the swallows fly, where the swallows move in oneness and perfect unity, because each one has a perfect separation around it. But humans, we are not able to maintain the perfect separation around us so that we can flow in unity, right? Separation and unity, or separation and unity. And what we do is we reach into everybody else's field and we say, okay, I'm going to look for external validation of who I am. And I'm going to look to you to see if I'm okay. And I'm going to work out your problems through my life. Like, we reach into each other's field all the time. So it's that. And again, at the root of it is that self-love, self-acceptance, learning that we have all the answers from within. And when we finally get there, then we have the perfect the perfect separation of ourselves so that we can be next to someone else in perfect unity. And it's there's so much to it. There's so much I've been learning from her. It's so rich, you know, and I feel like it is incredibly powerful now, right now, because this is this shift in consciousness that we're trying to do. This is what we're trying to learn, how to work with this energy in a new way, how to become balanced.
That's amazing, because I've never actually heard anyone speak about unity consciousness in that way, where we, you know, managing that separation, because that still is there, our, you know, our own personal space, personal boundaries, however you want to, you know, talk about that. But it's an important part of us stepping into the unity consciousness. And it seems like a paradox.
Yeah.
But that is
like
what we're
all of spirituality is full of paradoxes, right? In order to flow, you have to in order to move forward, you have to let go, right? All of it is like the opposite of what you think it would be. Yeah.
And I love your book, What's Coming. I mean, it is so prolific, so poetic, so powerful and compelling. There's no question that it comes directly from the angelic realm. But it does talk about what's coming. Do you want to give us some hints about what's coming?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's especially right now, the second half of 2025 is a very, very powerful time period. And so the angels have given us, and when they share this information with us, it's never to cause fear. It's just to help us. It's the way I would think of it is like, imagine you had a really, really, really close friend, and your friend knew that something that was going to happen that might affect you negatively. How would you feel if they didn't tell you? And so it is that it's relationship building. It's getting us to a position where when it happens, we will understand the bigger picture, why it's happening. We'll see it as a part of the broader picture of the unraveling of old systems. They say it again and again, whatever falls away is what we didn't need. And there will be new things to replace it, to look for the phoenix rising from the ashes. But they've told us some of the stuff they've told us about in the book is a lot of it has happened, but there's a lot that hasn't happened yet that I feel we're on the brink of. So I feel like this next phase is we're heading into is significant earth changes. And they told us about some, they recently told us about Mount Etna, like 3 days before Mount Etna erupted. And they said there's gonna be a phase of a lot more eruptions, but more is coming yet. There's a big earth rift coming, which is going to be very significant. And it's just the earth. They explain that this is the earth healing herself, that all of this earth movement, the earth is a soul just like we are, and she heals the same way we do, that we have to allow energy and feelings to rise up and to be expressed. And that's a volcano, right? We have our own volcano. And so but that, I think around the same time period, we will have economic disruption, earth disruption, and political disruption. And so, including the potential of the U.S. no longer looking like the U.S. like it does today. So very significant changes that we're looking ahead. And yes, there's a lot of uncertainty, but that is the thing to always understand. What falls away is what was actually holding us in place. I mean, one example I like to use is that we may be fearful, like, what if someone has a job and they're really afraid of losing that job, but that job keeps all their time occupied, keeps them busy morning to night, where they have no space, no room to actually pursue what they came here to do. And when that job goes away, it opens the door for something new to come in that's actually much more on path, right? And they may go through a period of being in intense grief or fear about the loss of that job. But what if it's exactly what that person needs? And so it is that idea of we're meant to grieve and to have the grief, to recognize the grief of whatever we lose, but then to immediately turn and see in that same moment, the phoenix will rise from the ashes, to look forward to what is birthing out of what is released.
Wow. So really, I mean, incredible times that we're in now. You had mentioned that 2025 in particular, we're going to be seeing a lot of changes coming in the next few months. Can you give us a sneak preview? And also, you know, how can people prepare for this? How should we be preparing ourselves so that we can flow with everything that's happening?
Yeah. Thank you for asking that. Yeah, the angels are not big on time. They live outside of time. They don't actually experience time. They've shown me how they see things, and it's so different from us. It's like all these spinning, they gave me the metaphor of all these spinning octagons that were kind of moving and coming in closer and closer. And so they could say the probability of something based on what was immediately around us in terms of these potential. So anyways, it's very, very different than from how we experience time. They see it as probabilities. But the biggest thing for people, but yes, I do feel like we are in the thick of it. I mean, I don't know. And I do think the second half of this year that, like I said, I can say in terms of when things happen, they haven't given me dates, but they have said that these 3 areas would happen around the same time period, this political, economic, and what was I saying? What did I miss out on that? Sorry, like my brain is gone. The was political and earth changes. Sorry, earth changes. Those are sort of those 3 areas come in like almost at the same time. Like it's like a ruckus. It's like lots of noise, lots of change, and the big thing they keep telling us to do in terms of how to prepare, it always matters most what's happening on the inside. That they say when you start to worry, or if you start to worry, to bring your awareness back to yourself, to your 4 walls, and recognize, like in this moment right now, there's chaos happening out in the world. There's crazy stuff going on out in the world. But everybody who is with you right now watching, they are clearly in a safe space because they're here watching this. So bring your awareness back and say, okay, is that violence? Is that war? Is that flood? Is it happening in your living room? It's not. The world is a very big place, a very, very big place. The angels have said not everything happens everywhere, that we will find our way through. There will be many places on the earth that are very unchanged, that are like almost like held in a time bubble. But then there's going to be other places that are dramatically changed. And we have to trust that if you as a light worker are placed in a place that experiences dramatic change, trust that you're there for a purpose, for a reason. And look for the phoenix rising from the ashes. So it is that idea of this is why they tell us in advance, so that when and if things happen, it's about managing our internal relationship to the now, to becoming allowing to what is, and to understanding that there's a flow, that we will be protected. The angels have told us, they gave me the most incredible experience to show me that miracles will be more possible than ever. Like crazy things. And I would never have believed it, but they literally that night, I channel my messages usually on Thursday night and I deliver them Friday morning. And they gave me this message, miracles are going to happen. And I'm like, oh, that's sweet. I hope that's true. I couldn't take it in because I got that skeptical nature. That night I was out and I got to be inside of a miracle. I got to witness like someone sharing just spontaneously shared this incredible miracle story who she'd never shared with anybody, that I happened to bump into her. I was living a miracle that night so that the next day I could share it with conviction. But so there's that piece of it, of managing our internal resources, our internal perspective, to understand that we are being guided, that your path is perfect. If you're in the middle of something, how is it perfect? Look for the perfection because it's there. And then in terms of practical things, they have given us some very practical guidance, which they say over and over and over again. Number 1, have a way to purify your water, specifically of viruses. So have a way to clean your water that does not require boilings. There's a lot of things like Brita filters. They don't filter out viruses. So it needs to be one that cleans viruses, that you can do it without boiling. The other thing is they say have a backstock of food. A lot of people just have like a week's worth of food in their pantry. Even on a very tight budget, people can do a big bag of rice and a big bag of beans. And it will make it so that, imagine that there is some chaos happening in the world and you'd rather not have to go to the grocery store in the middle of that. So you want to have the resources with you so that you can stay in the peace of your own space, so that you don't have to be out in the mix. Also having small bills at home. And in the event of bank closures, you would not need to, it's not about paying your rent or paying your mortgage, because if there is a bank closure, all those systems shut down. And same thing as natural disasters, all the systems shut down. But you may need to get gas. You may need to go to the grocery store. You may need to get ice to keep your stuff going, whatever it is. And when you go, they will not be able to, you won't be able to use your Apple Wallet. All the payment processing systems can be down. So, and you don't want to pay with a 50 because they can't give you change. And people usually don't have ones and tens and fives. So it's a real problem. And so it's extremely worth it. A very simple thing to do. Go to the bank and pull out ones and tens and fives and have them in a place, and then don't dip into them because the temptation is, and I did it. And it's such a pain to go to the bank, but it's like, oh, I got to pay someone. Oh, I got my tens, right? Just put them somewhere where you won't get into them, and then just have them. And I will tell you, like, it's so funny. When two of the ladies that are the wonderful women that I work with, one of them, they just got back home after one of our work trips, and they came back into a huge storm, and all the power grids were down, and they had no power for like 5 days. And one of them went out to go buy ice in order to keep their fridge stuff good, keep the cooler going. And she got there, had no cash. She had to go home. She had her cash at home, but she couldn't buy it. She didn't have any cash. So it's a real thing. But anyway, so just those 3 simple things. And then the 4th thing I would say is to start building your local networks. Like, if you had to get things locally, how would you do it? Do you have relationships with the people around you? So one of the simple things I did is I hosted a potluck for my neighborhood and got to know all my neighbors. And it was so much fun. We now celebrate all the kids' birthdays on the block together. Like, we have a neighborhood party and when I had this huge project, this huge yard work project, 3 of my neighbors came over and just helped me for hours without me even asking. And this all stemmed from this potluck, and now it's going to be like an annual tradition. But start developing those relationships now. Get to know, even if you're in an apartment, wherever you live, if you go out and tell the other people, put a note on people's door, have it in the parking lot, get to know your neighbors. And get to know, like, where can you find what you need locally. So even if, say, for example, like people who have horses, where can you get local hay? What can you get? What do you need that you can find locally? So those would be simple things I would say that people can start doing today.
Thank you for that. That all makes perfect sense. And I really have been experiencing a lot more unity community coming together, not just in my own sphere, but I have, talked to many other people too who have like community garden, community gatherings, community support groups.
Yes.
So I think it's also happening like organically, but yes, to go out and, do your part to encourage that sounds like great advice.
Yeah, and it's joyful. I think all of it can be joyful. It's really so much about trying to maintain our vibration that it's easy to dip into fear. And I think, when you start talking about change, it is hilarious, actually, that humans are so afraid of change. And the angels have said that we actually are the vibration of change, that humans are change and we are afraid of change, which is hilarious. Like, we walk into a room and we change the room just by our presence. And yet we are afraid of change. So we can't get away from ourselves. It's like, like a cat chasing its own tail. But anyways, but yeah, so and I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought there. I was just chatting away.
No, that was amazing. I loved all of the practical tools that, that the angels have shared with us. And to also approach all of that without fear, right? Like,
Yes,
we don't not going in and saying, I'm going to get a virus. I need, but just saying, hey, let me purify my water in this way, and let's upgrade that. So
yeah, and to let it be joyful. That was the thing I wanted to come back to, was letting it be joyful, is to understand that even in the idea that we're doing these preparatory steps, these are things that the Red Cross would advise. These are not crazy things to do. They're just, think of it as being a responsible adult, and then you do it and you don't think about it anymore, and you don't dip into the cash. And you just put it out of your mind and then engage in your life. And that's another big thing. Despite the fact that there's so much change on the horizon, the angels have said again and again and again, engage in your life. Don't think about, maybe I shouldn't travel. Maybe I shouldn't start that business. Maybe I shouldn't. They say, no, like, do the things you feel called to do. Follow your joy. And that even if, say, for example, you're that person that planned on going to this one particular school, and you've been saving and planning, and then something happens and you can't go. And they said, don't worry about it. That energy is what matters. And you've been putting energy towards your future, and that it may not manifest the way you thought it did, but you've still got energy going towards your future. It'll show up in another way. So continue to put your energy towards the things that matter to you. Engage in your life, and don't wait for these things to happen. Like, we have to live our life now.
life takes courage, doesn't it?
Yes.
So there's
Yeah.
practical steps to prepare. What spiritually can we do to prepare?
I think the biggest thing we can do right now is to work on our own healing. And healing, I think there's some, I know many of the people that are going to be here with you on your broadcast are, some of them may actually be healers, and people working on themselves is something that people are very familiar with. But anybody people who are unfamiliar with the term, it really just means getting to the place where we accept all the different aspects of ourself. That if we think of every moment of our lives as a different self, like that moment, every moment that made an emotional mark, whether positive or negative, think of that as like a snapshot. And all those snapshots of your life are lined up. And some of them feel great when you return to them, and some of them don't, and the ones that don't, because when you tell that story to someone, emotion comes up, and you can't tell it without getting angry again or getting frustrated again or whatever it is. That's unresolved. That's an unresolved moment. That's a self of you, a moment in time that has not yet been healed. And what it means is going back to that moment and saying, what feeling did I have at that time that I didn't want to feel, that I pushed down? And every time I think about it, it keeps trying to push back up because the feeling's right there, usually right here, trying to come up, And so the idea is to try to, every one of those moments of being triggered is like gold, because it's showing you the path. It's showing you what needs to be healed, to try to become incredibly conscious in our daily lives of when we are triggered, when you feel anything other than awesome, to sit down, to notice it. If you keep a journal, whatever works for you, but sitting with it, healing, it's as simple as sitting with the feelings and feeling them. Is go back to that moment. It's great if you do it when you're triggered, because then the emotion's already on the surface. Go back and feel it and let yourself be mad. Let it come up. Sometimes we're afraid that the feeling will take over and that we will lose ourselves, that we'll go crazy because the feeling comes up. And the truth is that feelings are meant to be moved through like a wind, like a breeze. And if we just feel them, they will literally 90 seconds and they will go away. We just are so afraid of the feelings that we push them down. But if we just open it, and I mean, ugly cry, like let it all hang out, get ugly, drippy, and like feel it. And then you'll find in a moment, if you're just really trying to squeeze every emotion out of it, pretty soon you'll be reaching for it, trying to find it again, and it'll be gone. And you'll know the next time you tell that story about that experience, you will no longer have emotion come up. And that's how you know it's healed.
Thank you for that. Yeah. So we are less triggered by things because we're doing the work. And
Exactly. Yeah. It literally is like our life may or may not change, but we change in our lives, right? We have less resistance to our lives. Yeah.
Thank you for that. So share with us what you'll be presenting about at our San Diego Transcendence retreat.
Yes, I am super excited to bring through the Mother of Creation and do a live healing from the stage. So it's a wonderful experience of her. Many people, when she comes through, have a physical experience of their own, depending on how each of us are wired differently, how we experience spirit. But it's a very tangible experience to have her come in. And it's really, what are we open to moving? But it'll be a beautiful, beautiful healing.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Anne. I'm so excited to see you in just a few months. I didn't know you grew up in San Diego.
Yeah.
San Diego.
Yeah. So fun to go. And it'll be really great to be able to see, and maybe we can see each other there, Tangela, if we're going to be there in the same time. It'll be great to hang out.
Definitely. And just, Anne, thank you so much for all of this incredible information, all of the downloads. It's incredible for everyone listening and watching to be able to really start diving in with you already and begin to understand, wow, the power of the messages that are coming through from the angels, for the Mother of Creation to support us during this time. And, just really hearing and feeling all of this energetic support coming through you now. And we can all imagine what it's going to be like coming together in person with you in San Diego and really feeling that power as it comes through to really support us in this transition.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it is for people who, I think that there's a part of us that thinks we have to suffer in order to heal, or we have to suffer in order to grow. And the beautiful thing about the path with the mother of creation is it's about ease. It is the difficulty we have in embracing our ease is so crazy, but it's really about opening and allowing. And it is, once you start down that path, it's like everything just unfolds. It just unfolds so beautifully. And that's what I'm excited to share. Really excited to share that.
Wonderful. We're looking forward to seeing you in, exactly. We're looking forward to seeing you in San Diego. And of course, Suzanne has given us a generous coupon code, Bliss on the Bay. So for all of you who are interested in coming, check out the link below, San Diego Transcendence Retreat. Use the wonderful coupon code. And of course, come and spend some more time with the amazing Ann Tucker in person. Thank you so much, Ann, and thank you, Suzanne.
Thank you so much to hang out with the both of you. It was a fabulous conversation, and looking forward to seeing you guys in San Diego.
Definitely.
You too.
Lots of love. We'll see you.